Aaron's second aunt introduced him to a potential match. After meeting, the girls showed interest in Aaron, and Aaron's mom also approved of her. They discussed and considered finalizing the marriage. However, Aaron was strongly against it. He vehemently refused, infuriating his mom. She scolded him, twisting his ear and saying, "With your attitude, who do you think you can find?" In pain, Aaron blurted out the words he had been holding back, "I want to marry Riley." His mom was shocked, exclaiming, "You good for nothing. Are you out of your mind? You want to marry a mute girl? Are you trying to drive me crazy?" She was furious and grabbed a broom, trying to hit Aaron on the head. Aaron ran away, and his mom chased him, shouting, "I'm telling you, you won't marry that mute girl unless I'm dead." Aaron wasn't surprised by his mom's reaction. Many shared the same view, focusing only on Riley's perceived flaws. To them, Riley, wanting to marry a healthy person, seemed like a girl from the slums aspiring to marry a millionaire. However, Aaron didn't care about Riley's imperfections. Compared to her kindness, those flaws were negligible. When Aaron was 5, newly moved to the street, someone threw a stone at him while he played in the yard. In pain, he saw Riley standing by the fence. His back was swollen, and his mom took him to Riley's house. Riley's mom explained that Riley, hearing impaired from a childhood injection, lacked judgment. Despite the incident, Aaron's mom couldn't say much. When Aaron encountered Riley the next day, he glared at her, but Riley, unfazed, blinked her big eyes at him. The following day, Riley came again, gesturing to explain that she threw the stone to get his attention, accidentally hitting him. Aaron was delighted. He had few friends, and Riley willingly befriended him. Riley, 2 years older and taller than Aaron, protected him in various situations. Living far from the convenience store, Aaron often faced bullies trying to steal his change. Riley accompanied him, even facing punishment from her dad for standing up against troublemakers. In school, Aaron contributed peanuts and wheat stalks to the school's work-study program, all collected by Riley. Once, Aaron wanted to buy a writing magazine, but his mom refused. Riley, without hesitation, used her allowance to buy it for him. Aaron decided early on to marry Riley, grateful for her years of support. Now, it was his turn to protect her. Afraid of his mom, Aaron had kept this concern bottled up inside. Now that he had shouted it out, he felt a sense of relief. He thought, "I can elope with Riley if needed. I have the strength to support us, making a living won't be a problem." In a rush, Aaron ran to Riley's house. She was knitting when he arrived, and seeing him sweaty, she hurriedly asked him to sit and poured him some water. When Aaron used their secret sign language to convey the idea of eloping, Riley's face turned bright red. She slammed the water glass onto the table and pushed Aaron away. Caught off guard, Aaron stumbled. Before he could sign again, Riley pushed him out of her house. Aaron grabbed her sleeve, preventing her from closing the door. Annoyed, Riley broke free, picked up 2 bricks from the ground, and threatened to throw them at Aaron. Knowing her temper, Aaron sprinted away. Riley, holding the bricks like a determined pursuer, chased him into the freshly plowed field. Sensing that she wouldn't actually throw the bricks at him, Aaron stopped and turned around, glaring at the breathless Riley. Despite her disheveled appearance, she still looked beautiful. They locked eyes for a few seconds. Riley forcefully dropped the bricks, turned around, and walked away. The gesture seemed to forcefully eject Aaron from her world. Stamping his foot, Aaron shouted, "Riley, you." Realizing she couldn't hear, he hastily switched to sign language. Then, remembering she wouldn't turn back, he sat on the ground, a wave of tension released from his chest. Dejected, Aaron returned home. He hadn't expected Riley's reaction to be so intense, but upon reflection, he realized that confessing out of the blue and suggesting elopement might have been too much. Despite growing up together, he had never dared to express his feelings to Riley. Determined to talk to her properly the next day, he believed Riley must have some affection for him. However, Aaron wasn't the only one with intentions to visit Riley's house. Since learning about Aaron's feelings, his mom had been constantly complaining, blaming Riley for seducing her son. She felt the need to visit Riley's home and teach her daughter a lesson about understanding and responsibility. Before they could take any action, Riley suddenly got engaged. The groom was from the county, born deaf-mute, but with a wealthy family. They had reportedly already bought a house in the city. Upon hearing the news, Aaron rushed to Riley's house, refusing to believe she would willingly marry such a man. He was determined to rescue her from this situation. As he turned the corner, he saw Riley getting out of a car, walking hand in hand with a tall and handsome man. The man carried numerous gifts, and Riley was smiling radiantly. When Riley noticed Aaron, she disdainfully glanced at him, then confidently entered her home. That one glance felt like a nail piercing through Aaron. He had thought Riley's rejection was merely due to his sudden confession, but her look clearly told him that he, like a toad, dared to aspire to a swan. Dejected, Aaron locked himself in his room, contemplating their relationship over the past decade. He couldn't deny that Riley outshone him in looks, intelligence, and family background. She was a tall beauty with a face resembling a movie star. Aaron, on the other hand, was decent but nothing outstanding. In terms of intelligence, Riley surpassed him effortlessly, excelling in complex knitting patterns and acing math problems that once stumped him in elementary school. Her family was prosperous, while Aaron struggled openly with financial difficulties. Riley's only shortcoming was her deaf muteness, a condition from childhood illness. If not for this, she could have easily surpassed Aaron in every aspect. He realized that his arrogant belief in being Riley's hero solely because he was physically sound mirrored the narrow mindset of his mother, an attitude that, in retrospect, seemed rather despicable. Winter came, and Riley got married. The whole neighborhood came out to witness the spectacle, including Aaron's mom. Her long-standing concern was finally resolved, and she returned home with a triumphant smile. She tossed a bag of candy to Aaron, but he was so infuriated that he threw it all into the stove. One piece happened to land on the stove cover, instantly melting. Aaron felt as if his heart had charred along with it. Aaron's mom, undeterred, began introducing potential matches to him through relatives. However, Aaron found no interest in any of them. Over time, he became a laughingstock, his own mediocre conditions coupled with a stubborn and picky attitude. Aaron paid little attention to these matchmaking attempts. He couldn't forget Riley, and even if she didn't care for him, he couldn't let go. He didn't want to be so pathetic, but his thoughts invariably circled back to Riley. Working in the fields, memories flooded back, picking peanuts together, sharing meals, and recalling how Riley taught him to cook rice. Even spotting a piece of broken glass left him in a daze, reminiscent of the times they collected glass to sell to the bottle factory. Riley would discreetly throw pieces into his basket. Riley didn't come back often, but when she did, Aaron would secretly hide near her house, just to catch a glimpse of her. Once, Riley splashed water from the back door, and they had an unexpected face-off. She closed the door without a hint of emotion. The following year, Riley had a son. Passing by Aaron's house with a stroller, mother and son both looked respectable. Riley had gained some weight, but happiness radiated from her face. Aaron felt a mix of bitterness and contentment. He realized he wasn't particularly capable, his mom was always nagging, and if Riley had chosen him, their life might have been chaotic. With this realization, something inside Aaron's heart suddenly smoothed out. Eventually, Aaron found a girl he liked. She had many good qualities, but her constant chattering, like a sparrow, left Aaron feeling overwhelmed and uneasy. Not long after Aaron got engaged, Riley suddenly returned home. It was said that Riley's son was deaf-mute, and her in-laws blamed her for passing on unfavorable genes. They mistreated her in various ways, and her husband's gambling habit, which he had tried to hide, became apparent. Unable to gamble with people, he resorted to gambling with machines. When Riley's husband came to pick her up, she refused to go back. He, in turn, grabbed her by the hair, causing her to fall. With only Riley and her mother at home, her mother shouted for help. Without hesitation, Aaron grabbed a kitchen knife and rushed out. Seeing Aaron's determined stance, the man was frightened and fled. Riley, with swollen eyes, expressed her gratitude to Aaron using sign language. Aaron wanted to say something, but Riley didn't give him a chance. She pulled her mother back into the house. When it was confirmed that Riley had divorced, Aaron received the news on the day his new furniture arrived for his upcoming marriage. His fiancée, excited and cheerful, discussed how to arrange the furniture. Aaron's mind was in disarray, and he stammered, infuriating his fiancée. Aaron considered breaking off the engagement, but each time the words reached his lips, he held back. His mom's health had not been great in the past few years. One time she had a severe episode and barely survived the trip to the hospital. If he caused more trouble, he might end up pushing his elderly mother to her limits. Aaron reluctantly accepted his fate. He and Riley were connected by destiny but separated by circumstances. It was a situation neither of them could change. Aaron's family raised 2 cows, and every autumn, they needed to store enough fodder. During the haymaking process, the machine malfunctioned, and while Aaron was troubleshooting, he forgot to cut off the power. His hand got entangled in the machine, and the situation was so severe that he had to amputate his entire left hand. Waking up from anesthesia, Aaron looked at his bald left arm and was dumbfounded. His fiancée visited him once and decided to call off the engagement. Aaron didn't blame her, a lifetime is long, and she had to plan for herself. On the 5th day of his hospitalization, Riley came. Surprisingly, Aaron's mom didn't give her a disdainful look. Riley got straight to the point and used a unique sign language that only Aaron understood to tell him that she would take care of him for the rest of his life. Aaron tried to express that he was now disabled and couldn't burden her, but he realized that, with one less hand, he couldn't even convey this message clearly. Aaron erupted in anger, and Riley, with teary eyes, dodged the objects he threw: a phone, tissue, medicine bottles. Slowly, she signed, "I am also disabled. We can support each other." Aaron fell silent, finally understanding Riley and the reason she vehemently rejected him in the beginning. A tough Aaron, who didn't shed a tear when his hand was mangled, cried like a child. Shortly after leaving the hospital, Aaron married Riley. Unable to do heavy work, Riley suggested opening a knitwear shop in town. Aaron handled customer communication, while Riley took care of the knitting. Riley's skillful hands produced patterns even more beautiful than those available in stores, attracting many customers. Word of mouth spread, and their business thrived. With only one hand, Aaron gestured the beginning of many sentences, and Riley quickly understood, using sign language to complete them. In winter, with the stove burning brightly, the kettle whistling, and a slightly bulging belly, Riley worked at the machine while their son quietly played with building blocks at the table. Aaron felt a profound peace in his heart. When he decided to marry Riley, few believed in their future. In today's fast-paced life, even two healthy individuals might face challenges in marriage, let alone them. However, Aaron insisted on marrying Riley. Sometimes, encountering shortcomings may not lead to greater deficiencies but to perfection. Their mutual resilience, concern, and love were enough to uphold such a perfect life. So, this is how it is. Life is like this, and what more can one ask for in marriage?